Hello, so my name is Yasin Khan and I'm a master's student of artificial intelligence and also a software engineer working as a software engineer on full stack front end and back end. Also working on building AI features and software like including chatbots and agents. Recently I've been experimenting with CLI based tools, not using them but building them. So this video is about my 2 cents on AI, or my opinion on AI now. I would think IT software engineering is being replaced or not. So like I would have written some points, so I would like share a few points about if like is coding or software engineering would be totally replaced within the 3 or 4 years. So for now, like point number one is so coding is like replaced, but you can think of it as still into an abstraction layer. So like we had like machine assembly language, and there was some Python, and like we had layers of software or layers of information to which they were being encoded and then decoded. So now with vibe coding, it is just an abstraction layer by which we have another set of layer which is like another part of the how we build software, but it would not be like software would not be naked. Software would always be naked, and software would be built forever. But the way of building would be changed from time to time. Maybe there would come a time when we would not be needing to give a prompt and we could think and it would be built. But still, the engineering part of it would not be there. So, like syntax typing or syntax system is like uh, for from my perspective is that, and even before that, syntax were not heavily emphasized or focused on like even in high level interview they would ask you to design questions or like questions about uh, how would you solve this report problem, and not necessarily looking on the syntax like if they were using Google Docs or some other editor which would not check a syntax. So logic building would be fully human driven just as it is now. So like we would decide what we want and AI wouldn't decide what we want to build, and we would face a problem, we would solve it uh, because AI wouldn't understand the requirements, and AI wouldn't like it is not a human, so it will not face the problem with that of a human. So we would he faces a problem at like before AI, how would software built as someone was working on a specific thing and he faced a problem, or he want to streamline that process, and he used AI to do he used software to do that, and now we can use AI to do it faster. So yesterday I was having a discussion with a colleague, and we agreed upon that part of coding is like not that because coding is always needed, but writing code is like part of it is that we will still review code, but software engineering is not like software engineering will always be there. So real engineering system would always have concerns with security and scalability and other things, which is why we need to this. Like for example, the company has 100 employees, and there is only let's say one product. Like how would you justify 100 people working on one product? But they are working on the specific parts of a product which require a full human being to be on the time, be available for that. And things change, requirement changes, which is why we do not work all the time. We sometimes in some part of the year we work more, and some part of the year we work less. So, and with AI, for example, where I am working, all the projects would not have been there if there was no AI. So, if software is increasing, it is increasing with AI. So, they would like someone was building a CRM, now they're building a CRM which would have AI in it and would solve the problem with using that. So like with more tools like blockchain and the technology emerging like quantum computing. Uh, the things would evolve, but like we would always need buildings. So if AI could build the buildings, like robots would build structure, then we would still need people who could operate. The nature of the job would change, and that too would take like maybe 50, 60 years. So it is not something that it is a bubble that we put it for. AI would increase the number of jobs, and that is how it will be. And different, I have, as per my research, jobs have increased with the rise of AI. So, and right now, even in the interviews or like, when we're building something, we're not like, we were focusing on how to write the code for it. We would be like having more discussion on what to build, how to build it, what would be required, and requirement gathering and requirement defining would be the primary tool or job for everyone. And third thing would be debugging would become more important than writing code. A part of I was having a discussion with my friend, and I was of the opinion that the developer job would reduce and there would be more jobs for QA engineers. And he was of the opinion that because he was a QA, that there would be more jobs of developer, and developers would be doing the job of QA as well, because you wouldn't need a separate QA to check the code. And since one person can do it all. But yeah, so we would have more of like all rounders of people who could do everything, rather than a specific a front end developer or a back end developer and a full stack. We would have a one software engineer who would be able to ship a feature fully. So he would be able to use the worker and the and then because of AI, understanding fundamentals would become more important. So we would know that if the function can be written out, for example, one line or less time complexity, and AI is writing slow, then he, he would be able to optimize for it, because how models are programmed, they are somehow optimizing the token usage as well. So when you are like on a high token usage, if the agent is on autopilot, it would rely on a less efficient agent or a model which would produce a less relevant code because of the limit of context for that specific um, model. So, for example, if I have a process history of cursor and I have odd and some free open source model in it, and it decides whether if I have exhausted the limit of opus, it wouldn't tell me on the autopilot model that it exhausted the limit for opus. It would just shift to the other model, and which would result in producing slop code. And AI would always be able, just like calculators wouldn't remove people from maths, and Google didn't remove people from coding, the with a co-pilot anti-gravity or person wouldn't like replace engineers or people who think. And I always say to myself, like, we have this term vibe coding, so I would like say that vibe coding is good, but what if you get stuck in a situation and vibe coding is the only thing that you have? So the other day I was working was on a problem with a fellow, and he was just copy pasting code from the IDE to ChatGPT and doing it over and over again. And I looked into it; it was just a one line fix. But because of limited context, I was not able to fix it. And so, if you just pay a little bit of attention, things can become easy. And this is why we cannot fully rely on AI. Even if we can, then we would need to do change that. We would also need a shift in our education system to focus more on engineering and design principle rather than, because this education system is built in a way for us to strengthen our memory rather than strengthening our critical thinking skill, which would always be more important than any other thing. Engineering would shift toward orchestration, so we would not necessarily be building like doing the brick work, but we would all be thinking of terms of design patterns and designing the product. And now the question would change from can you code it to should this be built, or how should this be built, or should it be built or not at all. So like the dilemma or the domain or the paradigm would be a little bit changed, but the work would always be changed. And AI would one thing that would happen which would be really negative is there would be no need of average developer. There would be a lot of competition since everyone can code. An average guy wouldn't stand a chance. So you would need to be extraordinary to show some extraordinary project because everyone can build a basic web application or some basic tool. You need to be able to have something uh, which you can sell, which can be a product on its own, so that the person who is hiring you, or even if you can start your company with that piece of with that mind, and this kind of mindset of product building would help us otherwise as well in other areas of life. So if we face a problem, we think of a solution rather than what the problem is. And people who will adapt will be more productive. So I have a friend who still doesn't rely on AI to code, and he would spend days just to code one feature. So that is also, I think, a downside that imagine you have a calculator and you're not using it. So yeah, so my like conclusion would be like AI isn't replacing software engineering, uh, but it is changing the way things are built. But software engineering will always be there. So there will always be jobs, there will always be work, and in this time we should not, and anyone should not spread like take hope from us. Like there is a code like hope is the only thing we have. So we should always, I think, gain a positive state of mind and focus on what we can do rather than what is happening around us. Part of it is reality. Maybe there would be jobs lost for the people who are in a certain age bracket or just want to retire or looking to exit the working stage of life. But for young people, it is the best time you're going to be working on software engineering, and this is the best time to get into software engineering. But if you have an average kind of mindset of you that looking for vacant sleep, maybe some other job or career perspective would be better for you. Yeah, that is my take. Would be doing another video on how education system should evolve with AI.